Hey, welcome to Combat Vet Vision. This is a place and a platform where our combat vets, our veterans, our sponsors, supporters, volunteers get to come on, tell their stories, why they're supporting veterans, what their veteran story is, their transition, a lot of different things. And my guest today is Nick Puga Pugliese, and he's going to be on deck. I got um, JB Brown, who's my co-host. He may or may not be on. Chef JB Brown, he's got his segment, Chef JB's Kitchen. If he's not on, hey, it's just going to be us guys today, and we'll talk about a lot of really good things. And Nick's going to talk about his transition, his reason for joining the Army. So Sergeant, hey, how you doing, brother? Welcome to be on deck. Thanks for joining me today.
How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. Hey, we go way back because you kind of reached out because you saw Warrior Built doing some incredible things. You're into the racing stuff, and Warrior Built obviously is vocational recreational support for our combat vets. I do a lot with the PTSD Foundation of America, reaching out to combat vets, and you started getting into some of the groups and doing some things because obviously it's really great to have the camaraderie and move forward with the veteran centric organizations. But hey, talk about you, man. Let's talk about you. Tell your story about why you joined the Army, kind of the stuff that you went through, and going into combat and then coming out and your transition and what you've been doing since and all that good stuff. So let's get into your story a little bit, brother.
I don't even remember exactly why I wanted to join at this point. I originally was wanting to go in the Navy growing up and do Seabees because my dad always did construction. So I was like, oh, that'd be a cool thing to do. And then the high school I was going to was a newer school, so they weren't accredited. So they told me I had to go to college to go to the Navy, and I said, screw that. And I was like, man, I'm just going to go in the Army then. So went, talked to the recruiter. I graduated a year early, so I had just turned 17. Talked to him and was like, nah, I'm going to try to do things my own way for a while. And then it's probably 6 months or so before I turned 18. My mom was like, all right, if you're going to live here, you're either going to pay rent or go to college. I was like, all right, fine. So I enrolled in classes that spring and joined the Army before that. Kind of had some struggles with life and jobs and tried to start my own company back then. And then my mom essentially just snowballs me to go talk to the recruiter again.
And when you joined the Army, what were you inspired to do? I mean, obviously crew gunner on a helicopter. Let's talk about how'd you end up in that situation? I mean, you went into the recruiter, you went into the recruiter and you're like, hey, what job can I have? How did that work out for you?
So I went in, I actually wanted to be a lightweight vehicle mechanic because I'm just getting into working on trucks when I turned 16 because it broke down. So that's kind of how I learned. So I was enjoying that. So I was like, all right, I want to go work on trucks. I want to do something that I like doing. And that job wasn't available. So he's like, oh, I got Chinook repair. And I'm like, the heck's a Chinook? He's like, oh, it's a helicopter with 2 tandem rotors, which I'm like, oh, because we see him all the time at my grandpa's house because he lives on the way. When then everyone would fly out to NTC, we'd always see him flying overhead. So I was like, oh, that was cool. Sure, I'll go work on the helicopter. And then went through basic AIT, got to my unit, and we were getting ready to deploy that following winter. I think February was when we were shipped out, but they were going to try to do all qualified crew members because normally they'll take cooks or whoever, they'll pull random people and have them be a door gunner for the left gun, and then you just run 2 crew members instead of having 3. They didn't normally maintain that many flight personnel, and they wanted to try to alleviate that so everyone was qualified in all positions. So pretty much I showed up and they're like, we need 12 more guys. And they're like, here, we just got a bunch of new guys. You guys are all going to flight company because you have no bad habitat. So I really just got lucky with going to fly. Talked with Run 60th recruiter, came in when I was in basic, and I was like, I don't know yet because at the time I was in a relationship. All that I was like, I don't know how that's going to work with that pace. But then by that time I was no longer in a relationship, went to the briefing, and our command sergeant major came in. He was like, I don't give a shit if y'all go or not, but you're not doing it until you get back. So I was like, that works great. So I ended up deploying with the regular Army, got my orders, so they sent me back early. Then did my out processing and then PCS to Fort Campbell, and spent the last 3 years of my 6-year term with 160th over there in a flight company. So, and that was fun. We were gone often between deployments, trainings, TDYs, all that. So the hardest part when I got out was probably being home all the time. So I was just so used to traveling, being on the road, and I still get excited every time I get to pack a suitcase and go somewhere.
Yeah. And
And
and you still do. You still get up, you still get involved and do a lot of racing and stuff like that. But we'll get into that a little bit. You went into combat where? Where'd you see
uh,
combat when? How'd that end up working out for you and
so we were
what'd you end up
in Afghanistan for most of my deployments. Actually, my longest deployment was only 4 months, but I don't remember how many I did exactly. So I did 4 months with the regular army out of Fort Bliss to Afghanistan. We were in Shindan. And then with 160th, we did an average of 30 to 60-day deployments. My first one with them actually got extended, so I was there for 90. We were based out of Bagram over there. I don't even know, at least 2 a year, if not more. And then my last deployment, we spent 2 months in Iraq, which was boring. And that was back in 16, end of 16.
right
So,
when everything was kind of quieting down there in Iraq
yeah,
and we were
sent
shifting
some
out?
people. Yeah, we kind of sent some people back over there because of everything going on with ISIS in Syria, and some general decided since Special Operations has their own Chinooks, they can run their own cargo. So that's what we did, which sucked for me because no one in 160th knows how to do cargo except for guys that came from the regular army. And unfortunately, that was me. So I had to teach everyone how to put pallets on a helicopter.
Right. And I spent some time under a helicopter doing some unrest. I mean, just doing some hooks and doing that. And luckily I got to do a lot of different things under that because if there's 2 corpsmen, we usually get to shift around and do every part of that operation. And it was pretty awesome to see some of those lifts around 29 Palms, to see them actually lift an LVS up. And so that was quite a feat. But that was a 53 doing that, not a Chinook or 46s can necessarily lift that, but 46s can lift pretty good. That's the 46 is a smaller version of the Chinook. So
It's
for
a
those of you
lot
that don't know,
smaller, surprisingly.
a lot smaller. Yeah, a lot smaller.
We had, when we were in El Paso, because a lot of guys flying to NTC or wherever stopped there for fuel, and we had I think it was 346s that landed there for fuel, and they came over to check out our stuff, and one dude, he was taller than me, walks on. He's like, "Man, this is nice. I can actually stand up in here." And they're all just
Definitely.
Like, oh, we have a maintenance panel. Like everything's in one spot. We have to look all over the bird to find all these things. I was like, "Oh, glad I went this route."
Yeah, and the 46s were used by the Marine Corps really mainly because they can land on the ship and multiple different platforms can handle that. Otherwise, the Chinook might have been a better choice, but that's a big beast to putting on a ship at any given time.
We'd go out to Virginia Beach and would go do ship landings and stuff out there with them to practice. But the Gulf models actually have a rotor brake because of the mission set the 160th has versus conventional Army, that shipboard landings, aerial refuel, all that's kind of a necessity to be able to have. So it has the rotor brake to be able to land on the ship and shut down, to where conventional Army Chinooks do not. Well, at least they might now, but when I was in, they didn't.
Right. Well, they're getting away from all those helicopters anyway and going with the Osprey and all the different higher technology, different machines now. But hey, what was it that got you? You came back, and what was it about the Army that had you step out? I mean, what was it that pushed you out of the?
Just kind of a life transition. I feel like it's kind of hard to say because I don't regret anything I did in the Army or my time in it. I loved everything. Wouldn't have experienced anything I did not if I didn't go, but I've always had that entrepreneurial mindset ever since I was a teenager. Used to sell monsters out of my backpack at school to the point where the school's like, "This isn't a fundraiser. You can't do it." So I felt like I kind of just was lacking it in where I should be in life, because that fixed income and you just get comfortable with, okay, get this on the 1st and 15th, no matter what. So I just kind of got really complacent with my life and decided when I was getting out, I started going to school, get a degree in business. I started doing a couple classes while I was still in, and with the times depend between deployments, all that type of stuff when I could. And then so just I'd get out and start working on my own and trying to build my life up and go from there, and ended up staying in Kentucky for about 2 years. I worked at a nutrition shop, did repossessions, and was going to college full time.
So when did you get out, and how do you feel like that transition was? Was it a difficult kind of move? Obviously, you don't have the security of the first or the 15th again, getting paid. How did that feel for you? Obviously taking that entrepreneurial type
It
movement.
was stressful. Not so much the income part. I've always been able to find a way to make income. Actually, was taking pallets and building furniture and like end tables and stuff like that and selling them on Facebook when I got out just to make money. While I was trying to get school figured out and all that, because I was kind of trying to balance a lot of different things. So, but the biggest part was just being home, because it was somewhat like deployments were a vacation to us essentially. Like life was easier. You didn't have to deal with the car breaking down or the washing machine not working or drama with the spouse or any of that stuff. It was just you show up, we had a mission or we didn't, and go to the gym, hang out, eat, had the group of guys. I mean, my buddy Martin, he was on all of my deployments but one. He actually lives up here in North Dakota, and it's the reason I'm here now. But it was just that being home, like there's vacation that you got to plan out and pay for and do all that. It's not just like, here, go here. You can go hang out for 2 weeks in Virginia or go to Europe for 2 months or any of that stuff. So it was just, I always had that I have to be on the move type thing. So it was just not doing that kind of made it hard, and I didn't process it very well either.
Now, what was in that difficulty of processing it, how'd you manage that so well? I mean, how'd you manage it eventually? Obviously, it was hard,
Um,
but
Biggest thing was I ended up, it was an old Yamaha motorcycle that was bought for cheap. There was a bobber project. Dude didn't finish. So I got that, finished it. And it was just getting on the bike and riding faster than I would have was kind of my adrenaline fix. And it took the tweak of the flying and the stuff we did overseas and got me that adrenaline that I wasn't getting from there anymore. But it was still other things with the transition and the stressors from life and all this other stuff that I just didn't deal with well. And I don't think I actually realized a lot of them or started dealing with them until a few years ago when me and you actually met and started talking. And I started jumping on Warrior Group, and then actually started to realize why I was doing some of the things that I didn't realize I was doing.
wow. So you found a way to kind of obviously start processing it in a better way, and
Yeah.
obviously taking a look at your life, because I know you've gone through a lot of changes in your life, and I know all these things that are piling up in your life that now you've taken stock in it. You run your own Warrior Group through a lot of different paces. You have your own business. Obviously these things still, they have their own struggles. You share a lot of stuff. You and I go back and forth, and we share we collaborate on a lot of stuff. We're going to help a vet later on this afternoon, I hope, as well. We talked about that this morning.
Yeah.
And so we collaborate on a lot of really important things, but it's cool that you're doing that because each one of us have some very unique helping skills and support. And it's awesome when we come together and we find those things. And how was it that you found me, found Warrior Built, found the PTSD Foundation? What was it because I know you originally kind of sent a message, and I can't remember how that all went down, but it's kind of cool that we ended up talking and you started really being involved in your life by being involved in groups. And
Yeah. So it was, I think it was 4 years ago now, because I know I didn't have my youngest son yet. My wife at the time took my son. They were in California for 2 weeks that summer, and I just pretty much lived on my dirt bike. Like I didn't want to be at my house. It was empty, and like it just kind of a bunch of stuff in my head just started making noise essentially. So I ended up reaching out to Terry Madden on Facebook or Instagram, because I follow him, and he posted a thing about being in the Marines and stuff. I was like, oh man, like I didn't realize he was a veteran. Like, so I was like, man, like he's doing all these things with the off-road community, all this stuff, like just living the dream life, in my opinion, like just simple, has fun, like gets to do all these things. And I was like, man, like, how did you get to that point of being able to do this? And he was like, here, reach out to Warrior Group. Yeah, and so that's when I sent the message, and then got on the phone with you, start talking to them. And then you sent me the link, the invite for the PTSD group, the Warrior Group you run. I think it was another 6 months or so When seasonal
before
depression, Dakota
before you
started
jumped on
hitting
there.
hard and some new stressors in life, and then finally jumped on the call for that. And shit, I think I just broke down and cried talking, like just getting through my bio on that warrior group call, just because it was like, man, there's people. I'm not even
Yeah,
as messed up as a lot of guys, but like there's just that outlet of having guys that, like, man, time I didn't know any of them. I talked to you 2-3 times, I think, by then. But it was just like they're there and just there to listen, talk to, and like not judge you for being messed up. And then there's kind of that step in the door of like, hey, you need, like, I need to deal with this. And just all the things we've talked about on it, and like just I remember it was one of the first few calls I was on. One of the guys said something about we create our own chaos because we don't have it from the military anymore. And it could be something like with money, with this and that. And I was like, oh man, like I get it now. Cause like even when I was in the army, I did this just because when I mainly deployed, like I pay extra on my bills. So I'd be ahead because don't know how long I'm gonna be making deployed money. So I would. But then I got home, and once I came out here to North Dakota in the oil field and started making decent money, I'd get paid and I'd pay every bill I had. Like I put extra on it to where I had like $300 by Saturday in my bank account, and I had to make it 12, 13 more days till payday again. And like I could stop paying bills for 3 months at a time, but I just would do that because then I was like, oh man, I have to make this money last, because it was a stressor. And like until they said, like, I forgot who it was in group said that one day, I was like, oh man, like I get it now. So then I would like get paid, and I'm like, okay, pay the minimum, or like pay a little bit extra. And I'm like, okay, put this in savings so it's there. And like I had to sit there and like consciously be like, don't spend that money. Even though like I wasn't buying useless things, it was always going towards paying off debt or building equity and stuff. Like I wasn't being just frivolous, but it was like just creating that chaos with it to where it's like, now we got a budget and strict and stressful. And so it's like stuff like that. And then just like learning the different things of PTSD is like, yeah, loud sounds might scare you if you're not ready for them and stuff like that. But then it's like how your other emotions process when like you're in a high stressful situation, whether it's an argument or this and that, like your brain wires it differently. And I was like, oh, so I was like, man, now like that explains why like this is going this way. So now like every time those things happen, I'm like able to stop and be like, okay, cool. Like let's pause, rethink this. Like this isn't you. This is what happened. Like when you let that go, get back to who we are, think about this, don't just fly off the rails. And so it was like just because of going to that group that got me thinking all those things that talking to different counselors and all this stuff never was able to do, because they just read about it and go, here, I could talk to you, which not getting health professions like they are needed.
Yeah, that's the difference between, you know, obviously having a one-on-one counseling with a counselor, because they're not allowed to be a peer, and the peer-to-peer mentorship and the group sessions, you know, we really share with each other and we share experiences, and some of those experiences kind of hit us right where it counts. Like, oh, I recognize that it's something that I can relate to. It's very relatable, and the camaraderie is there. So a lot of times guys show up at groups, and I will say this, a lot of times they just always say, man, I should have been here 5-10 years ago, you know. And recently, you know, now it's I'm hearing I haven't talked to anybody in 10 years about these things. And when you do that, I think the more we talk about it, the better we become communication experts at being better at not only just communicating within ourselves, but we know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate to say, because in the group we can be inappropriate. We can talk about the hard things. We can say things that normally we can't say in public because we need to express it in a way that maybe that's the only way we know how. And that's the only way we did when we were in combat. And so when we're in public, that doesn't cross over right. And it doesn't cross over in society right. Just like sometimes it's very hard to describe our combat experiences and be like, how does that translate into civilian life? And it really doesn't, because for us to go do what we need to do in combat, we have to become very primitive and almost, you know, like the enemy. We have to become worse than the enemy to bring that shock and awe, to deliver, you know, the ability to defend ourselves and be able to defend others. We have to become very jacked up in a way, But then we have to come back to society, and we have to learn how to be kind, considerate, and patient, and all these different things. And we have to learn how to do that in a cool navigational way. And you brought up so many cool, valid points when you were talking about these things, about how you finally got in the group and there's all these guys and you were finally able to talk about it. Because most of the time we go through our lives and we might sit down and talk to our buddies, but we don't really open up about specific deep minded stuff and have those discussions. But those groups are designed to do that, just like therapy is designed to do that. But if you're not involved in your therapy and you're not involved in your groups, then those things perk up in relationships and they cause bad relationships, or you make bad choices and you choose bad women or bad men or bad people in your lives that cause that cascade of chaos. And chaos isn't bad. I mean, you like chaos when you're on that bike racing. It's controlled chaos, right?
Yep,
but it's also a therapeutic effect because you're processing the navigation of the trail. You're processing how you're gonna do everything. Now you've broken a couple ankles and stuff. I mean, I know.
Yeah, my left leg's taken a beating twice in 2 years now. But yeah, that's actually like a couple things off that. So like, yeah, the group, said my buddy, that's the reason I'm up here, all that. We had every bad experience on deployments together, minus one, and it was actually with his brother-in-law now. But like, he's the godfather of my kids, like all that. But we never actually like opened up about any of it. And it was, I think, my second group. First couple groups, it was just me and him. He was the only one that came in. And just because it was that platform, like both of us actually started opening up and talking about stuff that we were both there. Like it was the same event for us, just different spot on the helicopter. But it was just being able to have that platform to talk about it, to where it's just like we hang out in the garage and drink beer and talk, but like it's not the same. Like it's just, this is what this group is. So then it like just created that outlet for like, hey bro, we can't talk about this.
Exactly.
With it, that's when I don't remember who was in the Army. One of the guys was like, yeah, like our whole job is controlled chaos. Because like when we're going into infill, exfil guys, like there's the C-130, the ISR birds, the drones, the fast movers, the Apaches or Black Hawk, Dapsbird, whatever our escort is, us, the ground force. Like there's all these different pieces moving 100 mile an hour. And like the whole situation is chaos, but it's all controlled. And so you just get so accustomed to that and that adrenaline spike to where winter's a little bit more difficult here for me just because it's cold. But like summertime, when I have stuff that I'm just angry and I don't know why, like just everything's wrong. Just you want to be mad at the dog, mad at the kids, your boss is a pain. When I was working for a corporate company, like just everything that's going wrong, I just take off and go hit the track on my bike or take off on my Harley. Because once I get that adrenaline and everything going, it's essentially like all the smoke clears out and whatever's there is what the actual problem is that's bothering me, whether it's an argument with a friend or whatever it is. So like I'm able to like learn and transition that into like, okay, cool. So it's like you have everything's going wrong, you feel like, but then I go take off, do that, and it gives me that outlet to where like the smoke clears and you can see the flames to be able to, okay, this is what I need to address in my life right now.
Yeah, do you feel like it's getting easier for you to take on situations that normally would come to you and would cause that chaos to spurk up? Now you handle it in a much better systematic way. Instead of going 0 to 100 immediately, you're able to control that to a point. Or when you go to 100, you're able to draw it right back down and say, hey, I don't need to take it to that level. Let me think about this for a minute. Let me not have this crazy argument with my buddy, my spouse, my whatever, and let me readdress how I'm taking this challenge on. How does that work for you?
Yeah, definitely. So within the past, probably the past year or so, I've actually been able to finally start flipping that switch back to, okay, cool, we're getting mad. Like, we're gonna pause this for a minute. Which, I mean, it's hard doing. It's like an argument with your spouse because then they're like, oh, you're just walking away. No, like, we're gonna go figure out what the problem is on this side, and I'm gonna come back with it, and we're gonna have a conversation, not a fight. It's like,
right.
I mean, sometimes like, yeah, confrontation's needed in a relationship. I mean, I've been in relationships where you don't want to start an argument, so you just keep shit bottled up, and then it ends up imploding, and that's not healthy either. And then, like, there's the whole never go to bed mad. It's like, I used to believe that, and then I was like, no, some things you just got to sleep off. Like, it's like, no, we're gonna stay up and hash this out, and then you end up till 2 a.m. arguing in circles, and you don't even know why you're fighting, and then you're like, I should just gone to bed angry. I woke up and we could have had a conversation over coffee and breakfast in the morning instead. But now we're tired and cranky with each other because we were up fighting for, we don't even remember why now.
See, that's a valid system of points right there. That's true. And now, obviously, you got to the point where you were frustrated in your work life in the corporate world, doing a bunch of things, and you had a pretty good setup, but you actually started your own business. You're North Dakota, doing mechanic stuff across the board. Talk about that. Talk about your business and what are you doing?
Yeah, so worked for a corporate company for a while, and they decided to do some downsizing and budget cuts, so they got rid of me, 2 of my mechanics, and my boss. So I started working at a different shop here in town, and was starting my own thing out of that. Kind of as a transition, just decided I might as well just start my own thing. Like, me and my boss, we're actually really good buddies now. That was worth for first few years I was here, but we always sit there and like, oh, let's start this, or like, when we start this, and like just different business ideas we kept talking about. And then finally once we have enough money saved up, once we have enough money, and finally it got to the point where I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm over it. Like, I have a dream and a vision I want to have for my life, and what I want to be able to offer my kids is in life, and leave them when I'm old, dead, and gone. Hopefully old when that happens. But so I just decided to start my own shop. I'm actually doing it out in my garage in my house now because shop rent's expensive in town. So I'm like, yeah, let's alleviate the stress. I can fit a full-size truck in my garage. I got one driveway that won't fit because it's too tall right now. So at least it's warm enough to work outside this week. But yeah, doing pretty much everything automotive repair. Hopefully as business picks up and things transition, I'll be able to get into more just doing customized trucks, like building lifted trucks, diesel performance, that type of stuff, instead of just the repair and maintenance. But right now we're doing that. I have my apparel line that I'm working on as well. It's got a handful of things online, but I need to work on trying to build the website better because like right now it kind of looks just kind of a little cheap. But I have that I'm doing, as well as selling dirt bike gear, parts, apparel, all of that stuff that we take to the races and sell. So kind of want to, the dream is to be in Texas with probably about 10 to 20 acres. I want to have enough property to be able to have parking for a race. But I want my shop there. I want a track out back. I want to end up, I don't know if I want to go full dealership for dirt bikes, but at least have the track open and staffed, have my shop there so I can transition back and forth with both, have apparel, dirt bike stuff, be able to have it to where it's, whether it's an experienced rider or a kid that wants to start riding it, there's a shop and a company there that's like, yeah, here's the demo bike. Go try it on the track versus riding down the road around the parking lot. Because like, it's kind of different when you're doing that. So you can actually be able to test out what you want if I do the dealership, but like having that, I want to tweak this or do that, or I'm having issues with the bike, that you can actually come work with them, help set up suspension for the rider, just kind of do that, and have building trucks is something I enjoy doing, to add on top of it for the business lines that I want to do. So
nice. No, that's good stuff.
And to get to, but I'm gonna get there.
Yeah. And you know, you started your own warrior group some time ago. Talk about
3-4 months and we've been doing it.
Yeah, talk about how that's going, what's going on with it. If somebody wants to get involved with it, how does that pan out? And obviously you still, you know, the reason why he started his own group is because my group's pretty late for him. At 7:30 at night on Tuesdays. It's already 9:30 at night at your time. And so it's hard to tuck the kids in and get them in to bed and then make it to group, right? And so you wanted to make sure.
Little one don't want to go to bed till 11 these days.
And how's but I mean, every once in a while he'll pop into to group with me, but at the same time he's got his own group going, and it's available. He puts it out on my warrior group informational page. So, there's a lot of really good stuff there. There's a couple guys that do that. Warrior Build also has its own group too, and it's important for these things to exist. So talk about why you started that and how that's going and what's going on with that.
Yeah, so like start going to your group years ago, all that, and like then I've been able to progress myself over it. And then with this town, there's a lot of veterans here, but no one really knows about any of the resources or things like that for the vets. And with it being that late at night, especially a lot of oil field guys work 12-hour shifts, all that stuff. So like 9:30 is kind of late depending on your lifestyle, all that. So kind of wanted to start something here, be able to reach more veterans, all that, see if I can help out. I've got a few guys that come pretty regularly. Jay, that actually is on yours a bunch. He jumps on mine depending on his because he's putting the kids to bed by the time mine starts. So I think it depends on when his kids go to sleep on who he jumps on and talks to. But yeah, I've been able to connect with a few guys. Actually, I have one guy just retired off the task force here for the police department that's a vet that joined us. And he was talking to me about some, like, he didn't even know about the PTSD Foundation at all. He said, like, when they end up with situations with vets, they send them to a 14-day evaluation down in Fargo at the VA center and then throw them back to the society and hope it helps. So I've kind of been working on him, do some stuff behind the scenes to be able to get more resources out and be able to do more in this community and help reach more people. And so far, it's a slow start compared to what I want, but at the end of the day, if one person can look back and say that I've changed my life and the reason I'm still here, then it was a success no matter how long it takes to get to that point.
Yeah, that's an important thing. And we spent some time talking about this. And, one of the things that we talked about that was really cool, and that's something that I always look back on, is that the PTSD Foundation of America is based out of Houston, Texas. And across the United States of America, veterans can be sent there. And it's a 6 to 9 month treatment for combat vets that are dealing with PTSD. They can be there going through this process, getting that help, and they can come out. This is for the, guys that are really bad off. They actually probably need to get through some drug and alcohol treatment facility first, then go to Camp Hope, get that 6 to 9 months treatment. And they come out and they finally get another chance in life to start out and do something that's really going to be pushing them in the right direction. But these groups really kind of deviate even from that. So sometimes guys and gals, they don't need Camp Hope. Sometimes they need that extra group, and it kind of puts them back on like a different direction and a different focus. And you never know what it's going to mean to have somebody like us be able to do that. But what's cool about Nick is that he started this group. He knows that he can hit me up anytime. He knows the PTSD Foundation of America exists. He does it on his own, does it through the church, does it to help out the veterans. So these are force multipliers to what I do to try to help out veterans in different ways. And him telling his story, this is a therapeutic effect in itself to be on the podcast and just kind of open it up and talking about it. But this is post-traumatic growth. This is some really good stuff. Kind of enlighten on that, Nick. Feel free to fill in any of those pieces right there.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much got it all right on the head on that
one. But yeah, we did spend some time talking about that, because you even said it. You're like, hey, man, sometimes these situations, they get kind of, stressful, and it's better to have two of us going in and talking to a vet that might need some help with the suicidal pieces or the things that they're dealing with on such a high level, and they really need that support and that prayer and that intervention. It's really going to mean a lot to them to have some people to talk to. And that's the same way with when they come into a group. Then you have all kinds of guys that are giving you their phone numbers on day one, right?
Yep.
Talk about that a little bit.
I think, I don't know how many people dropped their number the first day. I don't even remember if I saved half of them because I couldn't remember half the guys' names at the time to call them.
But you knew where to get them, right?
Yep.
You could always call me up. Hey, man, can you give me that guy's number? I think you've done that to me a couple of times.
I think I got Jay's number from you that day, and like he's called me a few times with, hey, man, like, what should I do? I'm like, just go take a breath. You're doing all right, man. Just pause for a second. Like, all right. Like, I got this. I'm like, dude, call Chief. He's got the answer on that one. Like, because I don't have it. But yeah, it's definitely good having it, because obviously you do a lot more with the foundation and everything. So you have a lot more resources. I've been doing this longer to where I feel like I'm just kind of playing middleman to an extent. Like, I mean, a lot of things, it's just giving someone that place and that opportunity to be able to talk and let some stuff out of their chest. But yeah, if you have run into needing people that need Camp Hope or need these other resources that I don't know, I know is available, but I don't know all the ins and outs of, then yeah, we have that person. Or if it's just they need someone to hear like that, there's like just with other options there is to kind of give them that, oh, there's a lot more going on than what they have to offer. And like, yeah, there's more people. I mean, I use like the word message on Facebook. I use that all the time for everything. Like, oh, like use that when I was starting my business. I'm like, hey, who knows a business mentors? Like,
That's
kind of,
hey, you know what? And that's right. I totally forgot about. You actually got a hold of me, and you're like, hey, who's the business mentor? And I said, oh, let me get a hold of Joel from the DMA, Distribution Management Association of Southern California. At the time, he had retired, sold his business, but he wanted to mentor a couple veterans in the business aspect to help them out.
yeah, he's actually
And you
working on
took it,
starting a nonprofit for that now.
yeah. And you actually wanted, and he actually said that to me, and you started asking, hey, do you know anybody that can help me with some, strategies to be a business owner? And I gave him your number, and you actually went with it. And so these are the kind of things that are cool because we don't always have all the resources, right? But together we come up with them. And I don't always remember. It might take me like 2 or 3 days. And I think I was like, oh, give me a couple days to think about it. And then I send you some context. I mean, I just used Keith Wild the other day, and I sent him some gal that really needed some help getting some spousal support benefits. And, I don't always know what the resources are going to look like, and they may or may not pan out. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes they end up being not a very good resource. And, and that's the one thing that I want to say is like when we talk about things and we do stuff together, be a good resource. If you're saying you're going to be a resource, be a resource. And I hope I'm a good resource, and not all the time have I been, because I forget something or I drop the ball, or, you have to wait. I mean, even Nick hit me up, I think this week. He's like, oh, I forgot to send you my bio and my picture. Cause we were forgetting about that stuff so that I could make the show notes for this, or we can do something. Right. But we're human. We're doing a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff going on. And I know, Brian Colburn runs this show from behind the scenes. He's pushing all the buttons, doing incredible things. If I drop the ball on him, he's always pushing my buttons. Hey, Chief, where's the notes? Where's the picture? I need the art. I need this. So it's important for us to kind of keep our systems in line, but we want to be good resources for each other as we're doing our stuff. And it's so cool that you actually use Joel to help you with your business and so many other things that you've used. It's not just Joel. There's plenty of other resources.
It was a while ago. I couldn't find my letter for my emotional support letter from VA for my dog. So I was hit up the group, seeing like how I could get it or what, like asking like, hey, like where can you get a copy? Because I couldn't find it on anything online on Eva and any of that stuff. And then I forgot who was one of the people on the group. She messaged me. She was a counselor and all that. So she's like, okay, cool. Talk to me. She's like, yeah, I can write you a letter. No problem. She's like, I can't provide you with any sort of counseling though, because you're in North Dakota. I'm out of here, like California, all that. So she sent me a list of everyone that took VA and my insurance that I had at the time through the company I was working for, all that. So I ended up found a pretty good counselor off of that. I was talking to him for a while because he was actually a combat veteran too. And I think that was the best counselor I've ever had, because counseling sessions was like this where we'd actually talk, and more so than just like, okay, how does that make you feel? I was like, look, bro. I'm like, all right. So yeah, it's just having that community of resources, which I mean, yeah, sometimes I'll put it on there and you'll be the one answering me instead of, or someone else will. I mean, it's just having that network to just kind of help out, because there's a lot of veterans that get out and start their own companies and do all this stuff to where even if it's like, hey man, I'm looking for a mentor, like, yeah, there's this person, or it's like, hey, like I can try my best, like I'm going through it too, like you need someone to just bounce ideas and stressors off of, like just one of those things of, we all went through combat, whether it was the same branch, service, whatever, like we all have similar experiences, whether it's like, we've all been through it just in our own way, essentially. So we have that camaraderie that just naturally occurs. I think that's part of the trauma bonding across the military that they do to us. But so just gives us that outsource to where we're kind of just more trusting of it because it's like, oh, you've been through some stuff too.
Definitely, definitely. But it feels really good to be part of such an incredible amount of great club of people that want to help each other along, and there's a lot of post-traumatic growth that has taken place, and not everybody is dealing with PTSD on the same levels at the same time, at the same, but I will say that most of the time, I would say that if you're engaged in your care, if you're engaged in talking about it, if you're engaged in dealing with it appropriately, it'll keep you further and further away from dealing with it with the alcohol, the drugs, bad behaviors, destruction of relationships, destruction of yourself, and ultimately, committing suicide. That's really what the prevention needs to be focused on. But most of all, it puts you in such an awesome state of support to be involved in all these things. And it's cool. I've had a lot of people say, hey, Chief, I really want to be able to do what you're doing. And I think it's guys like you that put yourself in those places. Like right now, you've made it a point to start your own group. You've made it a point to start your own business. You make it a point to help other people because you've put yourself in a place to do that. And you have to do that. That's what I have to do. I have to put myself in places where I can help, but I can't put, what you don't want to do is put yourself in a place where you help so much that you cut yourself so thin that you can't help others or you can't even help yourself. And so you have to pace yourself. That's for sure. Yeah. And that's an important factor. Talk about that a little bit.
That's definitely, I think just starting my group and being there. I mean, the first one I called you after it because I've started advertising about a week out. I'm like, all right, posting on Facebook on all the connection channels. Actually did after the first couple weeks of it, I did the morning show on the radio with one of the guys and did that, just trying to, but like the first one was like, man, like we're gonna get some people in here to help. And like no one showed up. Like work was slow that week because it was just one of the first few weeks where I was getting on my own. So I had like no work lined up. And I'm just like, everything that could possibly not line up didn't. I was like, man, so like I'm stressed, like felt discouraged just because of all that. And I called you, like, man, like you needed that for you tonight. I was like, pretty much, yeah. And just so we kind of talked about that for a little. And you're like, man, like I think it was like, I forgot how many people you said for like the first 6 months of your group. And I'm like,
first year, like just three of us all the time.
So I was just like, man, like we'll get there. Like I'm just be consistent no matter what. And even we had bad snowstorm the other day, and I'm like, man, like I still showed up, turned on Zoom on my computer, sent a link to the guys' numbers and emails I have posted on there. I'm like, nope, I'm showing up every week. I don't care how tired I am. I don't care, like until we get to the point where it's like well known, like I'm gonna show up in person just so that option's always there because I don't want a person to show up and like, oh, the door was locked, I didn't know what to do, and just give up. So it's just one of those. I feel better helping because like after the second one I had, my one buddy came, like I said, we were able to talk, and then I think we had 4 or 5 people within the first month that started coming. Some kind of popping out, some are pretty regularly. Some like if they can't make it because they got something going on, they'll shoot a text like, "Oh man, sorry, I can't make it." And it's like, this is a service for you. You don't have to apologize for having stuff go on. Like if you're, I had one guy like he was driving out to location for work, so he'd jump on Zoom while he was driving. He was like, "Yeah, I'll pop in for a minute." And like, dude, it's what we're here for. Like it's not a requirement to come once you start showing up. Like it's not like therapy where you're showing up every week. Like it's an outlet for if you just want someone to talk to, or you need to let stuff off, or see if you can help someone else. Like it's what the whole purpose of it is, to help others and ourselves in the process. And I think just having that and being able to do that's helped my mindset, because I forgot who sang the song, but it was Strong for Someone Else or whatever. And it was literally the backstory of it was the dude was about to jump onto a subway track. And then his life and his phone rang. Didn't know the number, didn't know who it was. And it was someone else calling him saying like, "Hey, I'm about to kill myself." So he went and helped him. And by him showing up for him to help save his life, saved his own. And so I'm like, man, I was like, I feel like that's a lot of veterans' mentality and why so many of vets get out and start their own business and do so much in their communities with their businesses and stuff like that. It's because it gives them that sense of purpose and just gives them putting something back into where they feel like they're still giving something of their lives.
Yeah, definitely. It's, these groups are not necessarily just a pity party as much as sometimes it really can be. But at the most time, it's really like, how are we navigating? How are we building those blocks to really kind of better navigate every situation that comes up? You don't know how often, I hear of some situation where guys have said, if I didn't have this group, if I didn't have a battle buddy, if I didn't have the people that surround myself that are positive, I wouldn't have handled the situation appropriately. I was just in a group the other day, and one guy had mentioned, he said his daughter said to him, said, "Dad, wow, I'm really proud of you. You just walked by a whole bunch of people and didn't make a single comment." And so, that's progress, right? When your family starts to notice, because they're affected by your PTSD, they're affected by these
Yeah.
things, and it's not to say that other people aren't. And I'm saying this, the public needs to be involved in themselves. They need to be involved in groups. They need to be out there doing what they can to improve their lives and their love. They need to hug their family. They need to hug the loved ones, and they need to support each other, because there's too much hate out there, too much
Yeah.
discontent, way too
That's
much.
what's one good thing I've actually started noticing with this town. Like, it's a small town. There's a lot of people that just are in and out for work that don't actually live here. They just work here, stuff like that. But there's a men's prayer group that's Tuesday mornings. It starts at 5:30 in the morning.
5:30 in the morning.
It's early, like, especially because me, because I don't get done with work. Like, I finish up in the shop, hang out with my kids for a little bit, put them to bed, finish up stuff on my computer because I don't have time during the day because I'm wearing all the hats in the company right now because it's just myself. So it's like, man, like, I go to bed at midnight almost every night if I'm lucky. And it's like, get up at 4:30 in the morning, go to that when I can. And like, I think there was almost 300 guys there one morning. But it's literally
Wow.
just like 300 guys that are like, nope, I'm going to show up to this group. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to make these changes in my life and do this to better things. And it's just like, just seeing stuff like that are happening is like, whether it's a prayer group or PTSD group or just guys going out and hanging out, just getting together and talking about stuff, and like actually not just go to work, go home, go to work, go home, go to work, go home, like being a part, like taking control of their life essentially. Of, no, I don't want to just work until I'm dead or for my retirement or whatever. Like, this isn't the only thing for me. Like, we're going to have a purpose of this. And this, like, it's just really good seeing that type of things happening now.
Exactly. Well, hey, this is the first podcast of 2026. So, I want to tell everybody out there, I hope that, last year, 2025 was a good year, although, there's a lot of things that probably happened that created a lot of uncertainty, a lot of things that maybe were great. And, but I definitely hope that 2026 is going good. And let's talk about how your new year is going. And, let's just we got about 10 more minutes. So I just want to throw some of that in it. Or if there's anything else you want to throw out there before we go into the new year stuff.
No, I'm good with going in next. I mean, yeah, my 2025 was up and down like a roller coaster. I mean, it started out, went real sideways real quick because, well, actually, I got my 100% rating at the start of 25, so I thought things were going to be different, and then became unemployed. So I'm like, oh, like, all right, because it was one of those, like, I was praying to get that thing because it took the VA like 6 months to approve it, and I'm like, just praying about it, like, yeah, I'll be able to do this stuff and be able to be more like, won't have to stress this much. I'll be able to do these things with this. And then like a month after I got it, I got fired and all that. I'm like, okay, cool. But then like I started going on my own, doing my business stuff. So it's like, oh, there's a purpose, like why this went this way. So, I mean, yeah, 2025 definitely has been an experience. And then I'm going in 2026. I've got different things I've got set in place, some visions and some goals to hit this year. So we're kind of lining things out. So far, the beginning of the year has been pretty good. We're starting to pick back up after the holidays. We went racing this last weekend down in South Dakota, doing the indoor series, and just good weekend. Nothing broke. No one got really hurt. So,
And how the bikes do? How they survive?
it was everything was good.
No broken parts.
No broken parts on the bikes. At least
Just
none of
worn
mine.
out parts.
Yeah. But so the end of the indoor series, because it runs October to March, they do a race a month down there. My now 4-year-old, he just turned 4 December 29th. At the end of last season, they do the Strider bike races, which are the foot bikes. They do that on part of the track with all the kids they have. So last year they did every entry into that was an entry into a raffle for a Gas E2 dirt bike. Well, my youngest son actually won that last year. So then this year, before all the races, they announce everyone's names before your class goes out, and they announced his, and they're like, oh yeah, we're helping him celebrate his birthday that he just had. He's actually on this bike that he won. All that. So it was really cool just to have, like, there's 500 of us, but like the announcers know who we are. And like James, the guy that runs it all, like he knows people, like he's not just a man in the shadows. He's out there talking to people, asking them like, hey, how's the track? What do you think? What should we change? What do we do? Like, just, it's a really good community of things. There's over 100 kids on 50s out there alone. So it's really cool seeing it, because it's a Wide Open Motorsports. They actually have, it's a coffee company too, Wide Open Brew, and their motto is fueling the future. So like their whole mindset with the arena cross races is the kids and the next generation, and they give back to the riders. They do giveaways every month. It's just really good time. And so it was a little bit warm down there, so we weren't all freezing inside this weekend. So it was really cool seeing that. And then my youngest, he wasn't last, but he thought he was, so he was really mad. It was kind of funny. So as he was finishing the race, he was the last one finishing. So the announcer was like, hey, this is the kid we'd announced. It's his birthday. He's on that bike, blah, blah, blah. Like, just everyone as he crosses the finish line, give him a big old round of applause, which usually they have the crowd, like they give him a little more encouragement when it's a kid that's really struggling. It's just learning to ride, and kind of like, come on, help him get through that last little bit. So when they all cheered for him, they all thought he thought that's who he was, because he's been around it for a couple years now. So he was really mad because he's like, oh, I was in last. That's why they're all clapping for me. I'm like, no, you weren't. I was like, you were the last kid that didn't get lapped, because there was a few of those. It's like, you weren't. They were cheering for you because it was your birthday. He's like, whatever. And like gets all mad. I'm like, oh, you have so much attitude for 4 years old. It's just
and he was confused, obviously, right?
Yeah. So he was so mad because everyone was clapping for him.
Dang.
No, dude, that's not why. It was just really cool to see that. And then after the announcers came up to me, because I was out on the track with him, he's like, okay, I've been saying this wrong every time. I think I say it differently. Like, how do we say your last name? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm used to that, because like it's pronounced Pugliese. And then the whole time growing up, sports, all that stuff, my mom would always write like Pug and then lease, like leasing a car, house, whatever, next to it in parentheses. So like the whole time I grew up, no one ever mispronounced my name. And then I joined the Army, and they're just like, Pug. And so like I'm just so used to it. And I think it was like towards the end of when I was getting out of the Army, I was like, oh yeah, I used to do this. I was like, oh, I was like, I need to start doing that.
I know. I always butcher your last name every time I try to.
I'm so used to it.
Yeah, when I try to find you in my phone, I'm like, I have it so butchered I can't even think about your last name being spelled right in my brain, and I'm like, and then I don't even have you as Nick. I have it Nicholas. So it's hard for me to find you. And then I'm like, oh wait, it's under Nicholas. There we go. We'll figure it out. so it's all good.
To the point where like I wouldn't even correct people. They'd be like, oh, how do you pronounce it? I'm like, oh yeah, you were right. And they're like, say it. And I'm like, Pugliese. They're like, I didn't even say anything close to that. I'm like, oh.
Oh, that's good. Well, I'm glad. What are you looking forward to here in 2026 and
summer?
Yeah. Well, being in North Dakota, what's the weather like and what's going on with that, man? I know
it's actually been warm so far. We were in the high 30s this week, so it's kind of nice. Some of the ice and snow's melting. We'll see how February goes. Normally in the January, February it gets pretty bad. So
you measure good weather and bad weather as far as like how the snow might be melting.
Yeah.
If the snow is melting, it's good weather. If it's not melting, it's bad weather. It's
right on the verge. Last year in Texas, she's down near Fort Worth. And like I got their weather, and I sent her a text. I was like, "Hey, our weather's the same right now." I was like, "I don't know why there's this minus sign in front of the 32 on my end, but we have the same temperature."
Oh shoot, that's funny. Yeah. Hey, we got just got a couple more minutes, but if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how would they do it? And if they want to get involved in your group, obviously you can get a hold of him through me, just so everybody knows. Feel free to hit me up and ask, and I'll get you a hold of Nick anytime. But feel free to put any information out there, Nick, that you want to put out there for you.
So probably the easiest way would be either call or text me, find me on Facebook, or send me an email. So the email, we'll go with the business email because it's easier to remember. It's Dark Horse Motorsports LLC at Gmail, because I won't try to give you all my last name. Just try and pronounce that in an email. And then for the phone number, be 701-609-9858. And like I said, if you're interested, just give me a call, or need someone to talk to, give me a call.
Yeah, and if you're in the
my phone rings a lot.
And if you're in the North Dakota area and you need your vehicle fixed, what area are you in? That
up in Williston. So we're in Williston, so I'm about 10 miles from the Montana border, northwest side of the state. So
awesome.
Yeah, we use Evolution Completions. They're nice enough to let us use their upstairs training room for the group. So we have it in person. Like I said, I make it a point to always be there. I've got my buddy that helps me out. So have him, if I ever can't make it, I'll have him try to run it. So we'll try to make it to where it's always an option to be in person. But yeah, it's every Tuesday at 7. Whether it's
awesome.
In person or on Zoom. Like I said, we do everything we can to make it a point to be in person, just so that option's available. Because like I said, I have one dude that's like, yeah, it's out on Facebook and came by. So I don't want someone to see it or hear about it and show up and no one be there. So it's the last thing you need when you're like, I'm having a bad day and I need help, and then you walk in and no one's there.
Exactly. That's so true. And really, with these groups, you got to be selfish. And I talk to people all the time. I'm like, hey, you need to be selfish. You need to be there for you. And because you're there for you, you're there for each other. And by being there for you, you're there for your care. You're there to talk about something about you, to get it out. And it's not like we want unsolicited advice. And that's something we talk about before the group, especially when we give the preamble and the rules. You don't want to give somebody unsolicited advice like, oh, this is what you need to do. That's not what these groups are about. It's like, hey, if that person may want your advice, they're going to ask for it and stuff like that. But, it's really important for you to be there for you. So,
yeah, and it's not always come cry about your problems, or you have to talk about PTSD. Like if you want to come and say your boss sucks that week, or your wife's pissing you off, or your kids don't listen, or say how great your dog did. It's just a place to come and be able to hang out. And whether it's you got something weighing on you and want to let it off, or you just want to come and hang out and talk. Like it's one thing. Like with your group, I think it was like me, you, Keith, and I don't remember who else, but it was like no one really knew on. So it was just like the whole time was us three talking about, I think you talked about a restaurant in Vegas, or someone just went through and on a trip or whatever. Like we're just talking. Like it's not
exactly.
Always like,
sometimes
with trauma today. It's just like, man, how are you doing today?
It's the camaraderie. It makes a huge difference. But Nick, hey, thanks a lot for being here, man. Thanks a lot for being you. We'll have you on some other time too, as well. I'm much appreciated for all that you're doing as a force multiplier to the groups that you're putting out there, to the help and support that you're putting out there for the veterans, and keep doing what you're doing, brother. Appreciate you.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah. Hey, this is what this is about. This great group, this great platform. Thanks to all those that make it happen. JB couldn't be here today. He got all wrapped up. He sent me a message. He's like, hey, have a good podcast. And this is Combat Vet Vision. This is where these messages get to be put out. I think this 1 hour process, we get to have a lot more interaction, but thanks to Nick, thanks to everybody that puts this together. Brian Colburn from SitchRadio.com, the Warrior Build Foundation, PTSD Foundation, Recon Chief Incorporated, all these other organizations that have been on here, all you vets, all you sponsor supporters and volunteers. Look forward to having some of you guys on in the future. And until next time, strength and honor. Out.
The only way, and we need nothing more. The only way, together forever, that's for sure.